Morning, all. All right, so we have 13 games tonight in the NHL. It is a busy Thursday. We have 6 games starting at 4 o'clock Pacific, one a half an hour later, one a half an hour later. We get a couple more started an hour after that, and then we get into the late games. So it's a pretty full spread out night here. 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific start between Anaheim and Columbus. I'm going out on a limb and I'm wearing a Columbus jersey. I know, crazy, right? So the first of 2 meetings between these teams, the next meeting will be in Anaheim on March the 17th. On the Anaheim side, they're 12, 28, and 5 overall. Their last 10 games are 3, 6, and 1. Away from home, they're 4, 15, and 4. They are 22 points behind Calgary for that last playoff spot. On the Columbus side, they are 13, 29, and 2 overall. Their last 10 games are 3 and 7. At home, they're 10, 14, and 1. They're 23 points behind Pittsburgh for the last playoff spot in the East. So in this battle of the Titans, I'm taking Columbus because, sure, why not? 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. Boston will play against the New York Rangers on November the 3rd. Boston won the first matchup 5-2. The third and final matchup will be March the 4th. Boston is just, it's ridiculous. 35, 5, and 4 is their overall record. Their last 10, they're 8, 1, and 1. Away from home, they're 14, 4, and 1. They're 13 points clear of Toronto, and they're 15 points clear of Tampa Bay. On the Rangers side of things, they're 25, 13, and 7. Their last 10 games are 6, 2, and 2. At home, they're 11, 8, and 4. They're 4 points behind New Jersey. They're 3 points ahead of Washington, and they're 6 points ahead of Pittsburgh. So, again, the Metro, really competitive, and we'll see how things go in this one tonight. Where you've got your Atlantic Division leaders and against an Atlantic team against a Metro team that wants to stay that far ahead of Washington and get a little further ahead of Pittsburgh, who are off tonight. 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific start between Chicago and Philadelphia. This is the first of 2 meetings. They'll meet again April the 13th in Chicago. The Blackhawks are 12, 26, and 4 overall. Their last 10 games are 4 and 6. So they've been playing better over their last 10. Away from home, they're 3, 11, and 2. They're 23 points behind Calgary for that last playoff spot in the West. On the Philadelphia front, they're 19, 19, and 7. They are 8 and 2 in their last 10 games. At home, they're 10, 10, and 1. They're 6 points behind Pittsburgh for that last playoff spot in the East. So we'll see how that one goes tonight. Philadelphia's been really hot lately, but again, Chicago's shown they can play spoiler too. 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific start between the Florida Panthers and the Montreal Canadiens. The only meeting they've had this year was on December 29th. Florida won that one 7-2. So this is the second of 4 meetings. They'll meet again March the 16th as well as March the 30th. Florida's 21, 20, and 5. It feels like Florida's starting to turn things around. They're 5, 4, and 1 in their last 10. Away from home, they're 10, 14, and 1. They're 4 points behind Pittsburgh for that last playoff spot, so a win over Montreal tonight pulls them within 2 points. On the Montreal side, they're 19, 23, and 3. Their last 10, they're 4 and 6. At home, they are 10, 11, and 0. They're 10 points back of Pittsburgh for that last playoff spot. So, I mean, Montreal's not so far out at this point, but we know they're really, really highly unlikely to make it. 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific start between Minnesota and the Carolina Hurricanes. This is the second and final meeting on November 19th. Minnesota wins this one 2-1 in overtime. Minnesota's overall record is 25, 14, and 4. Their last 10 games are 6, 2, and 2. Away from home, they're 12, 6, and 3. They're 5 points clear of Colorado. They're 6 points clear of Nashville. They're in third spot in that division. They're trying to pull further ahead of both Colorado and Nashville. Colorado has the night off. Nashville does not. Carolina 27, 9, and 8 overall. Their last 10 games are 5, 3, and 2. So this is the expected speed bump along the way. Every team has that except apparently Boston. At home, they're 13, 5, and 2 overall. They're 1 point clear of New Jersey for first in the division. They're 5 points clear of the New York Rangers. So it'll be interesting to see how this one goes. 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific start between the Winnipeg Jets and the Toronto Maple Leafs. Toronto won the first matchup in Winnipeg on October 22nd by a score of 4-1. I don't remember the rest of that road trip, just that game. On the Winnipeg front, imagine there's some Toronto fans that probably don't want to think about the rest of that road trip either. 29, 15, and 1 for Winnipeg. That was where they went through California, right? So last 10 games for the Jets, they've been 8 and 2. Away from home, they're 12, 9, and 1. They're tied with Dallas atop the division. They are 5 points clear of Minnesota. On the Toronto front, they're 27-11-7 their last 10 games. A pedestrian 5-4-1, but their overall record's still very good. At home, they're 16-3-4. They are 13 points behind the Boston Bruins. They are only 2 points ahead of Tampa Bay now. So they need this win tonight. 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific start between the New York Islanders and the Buffalo Sabres. So these are two teams that have been going in the wrong direction against one another. Two teams that want to make sure they stay in the hunt for a playoff spot. This is the first of three meetings. They'll meet again March the 7th and March the 25th. The Islanders are 23-19-4 overall. Last 10 games, they're 3-5-2 away from home. They're 10-11-2. They're 1 point back of Pittsburgh, who again are idle tonight. So they can jump past Pittsburgh and back into a playoff spot. Buffalo, 21-19-3. Their last 10, they are a woeful 4-5-1. And I say woeful because they've got to keep gunning for that playoff spot or else they end up completely out. And they're not far from that status. They're 9-12-2 at home, which is a major problem for them. They're 6 points back of Pittsburgh for that last playoff spot. But of course, if they lose in regulation to the Islanders, they're then 7 points behind Pittsburgh, or behind the Islanders for that last playoff spot. 8 Eastern, 5 o'clock Pacific start between the Nashville Predators and the St. Louis Blues. This is the third of four meetings. On October 27th, Nashville wins 6-2. On December 12th, it's a 1-0 shutout victory in overtime for the St. Louis Blues. The fourth and final meeting will be April the 1st. Nashville 21-17-6 overall. Their last 10 games are 6-3-1. Away from home, they are 10-10-3. They're 3 points behind Calgary for that last playoff spot, so that race is close. St. Louis is in that as well. They're 22-20-3. Last 10 games, they're 6-4. At home, they're 9-10-2. They're 4 points behind Calgary for that last playoff spot in the West. So, both of these teams looking to climb past each other to get closer to a playoffs. Well, St. Louis is looking to climb past Nashville. Nashville looking to get within a point of Calgary with a victory tonight. 9 Eastern, 6 o'clock Pacific start between the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Edmonton Oilers. November the 8th, Edmonton won in Tampa Bay 3-2. We'll see what happens in Edmonton. Tampa Bay's 29-13-1. Their last 10 games, they are 8-2. They are 12-9 away from home. They're 2 points behind Toronto. They're 12 points clear of Florida. So, again, they're pretty clearly in that third spot, but they may end up being in second if things keep trending the way that they're going. On the Edmonton front, they're 25-18-3. Their last 10 games, they're 6-3-1. At home, they're 11-11-2. They're 2 points ahead of Calgary. They're 4 points ahead of Colorado. Things are definitely tight in the West. Edmonton can help themselves out with a regulation win over Tampa Bay, which Toronto fans would thank them for. 9 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Pacific start between the Washington Capitals and the Arizona Coyotes, November the 5th. Arizona won in Washington. We'll see if Washington returns the favor tonight. Washington 24-17-6, but their last 10 games, they're 4-4-2. Away from home, they're 11-9-3. They're 3 points ahead of Pittsburgh. They are 4 points ahead of the New York Islanders. On the Arizona side, they're 14-25-5. Their last 10 games, they're 1-9. That last game was a win over Detroit in a shootout. They're 8-6-2 at home. They are 18 points behind Calgary for that last playoff spot in the West. So it's a ways away from the playoffs. 10 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Pacific start between Detroit and Vegas. This rounds out Detroit's road trip tonight. Vegas won in Detroit on December 3rd by a score 4-1. Detroit's 18-17-8. Last 10 games, they're 3-6-1. Away from home, they're 7-8-5. They're 7 points behind Pittsburgh for that last playoff spot in the East. Vegas, 28-15-2 overall. Last 10 games, they're 5-4-1. At home, they're 13-12 as their home record was getting better, and now it's back down again. The loss of Mark Stone just makes such a huge difference, and there are other big names missing as well. They're 2 points ahead of both Seattle and LA atop the division, so it is not much of a cushion there at all. 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific start between New Jersey and the Seattle Kraken. This is the first of two meetings. They'll meet again on February the 9th. For New Jersey, they're 29-12-3. Over their last 10, they're 7-2-1. Away from home, a ridiculous 18-2-1. And they're 4 points clear of the Rangers. They're 7 points ahead of Washington, but of course, their target is passing the Carolina Hurricanes, who they're only 1 point behind. Seattle's 26-14-4 over their last 10. They're 8-2. The 8, though, before the two. They've lost 2 straight coming into this one, and at home they're 10-9-2. They're tied with LA for second place. They're only 3 points ahead of Edmonton. So, I mean, there is the situation where Edmonton could with a win, and if Seattle and LA take regulation losses, Edmonton's right in the hunt then to jump past them. They don't jump past them, but they're in the hunt for that. So we'll see how Seattle does tonight against the best road team in the league in New Jersey. 10:30 Eastern, 7:30 Pacific start between Dallas and the LA Kings. This is the third and final meeting between the two. On November 1st, Dallas wins 5-2. On January 3rd, LA wins 3-2. Dallas has to play a full 60 minutes tonight, not just a good 26. They're 26-12-2 over, or 12-7 overall. Their last 10 games are 5-4-1. Away from home, they're 14-8-4. They're tied with Winnipeg atop the division, and they're 5 points clear of the Minnesota Wild, who are sitting in third and still, rattling off some points here. The LA Kings, 25-15-6 overall. Their last 10 games are 6-3-1. At home, they're 14-8-2. They're 3 points ahead of Edmonton. They're 5 points ahead of Calgary. Yeah, the Pacific Division's tightened up. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through, you just happened upon this video. And yeah, let me know your winners in the comment section below. Thank you guys so much for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.